Quarter's over. We're almost done with half the year. Can you believe it? Hard to believe. Hard to believe. We had a great class yesterday, the broker management class. And oops, you probably can't hear me. Well, hold on, everybody. We're rushed in here. Happens sometimes. Okay, good morning. Half the year is gone. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. Let me do a quick sound check. Sometimes when I don't do things in the right order, we have to make sure. Okay, we have here. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, good. Good. Anyway, exciting time to be in real estate. And yesterday we listened to Brian Buffini, and because we listened to it on BeLive, on this platform I use, it's available for you to rewatch. Now, it's also available as a podcast. And for Agent Formula members, we are going to be putting that on as the blog for the first half of the year. And that will go out to everybody that you have loaded in your CRM in the back of your Agent Formula website, sometimes known as your office, your back office. So much we keep adding to Agent Formula. It's my passion, and I love providing all this information for everybody. Like I said yesterday, we all need a purpose in life, and I love my purpose. So what do we have here? We have 101 homes we just listed yesterday. Yay, my smiley face is there because it's over 100. I don't put that there if it's under 100. We did put 142 under contract, and we closed 110. And we have 21 days of inventory. It's 20.96, but to me, that's good enough for 21. And I love it. Just let's keep it above 20. I love that. We have 2,601 single family homes. And I've added a new stat here. If you look over to the right of the screen here, let me put myself, let's see, which way am I going? There we go. If you look over here, there's 43 single family homes under 400 that were listed yesterday, and a total of 848 single family homes under 400,000 that are active. And that's in, again, area, if you look up here, area 0101 to 0805. I don't do Nye County. I was thinking about doing it. And I think perhaps that needs to be a separate stat, and maybe even a separate stat sheet document, not on this one. There's enough information on this one already. I'm sure you agree with that. We're averaging 138 sales a day, which is wonderful. Median price is $385. Those figures will be updated sometime. It takes the MLS and applied analytics sometimes 2 weeks, 3 weeks to update that. It varies. So we'll see what we ended up with as of the end of June, but we won't know that till probably the first or second week of July. Anyway, we are, of course, outperforming last year. That's no surprise. And last year and last June. So those things are still, there's not going to change. Just good information, though. What else do we have here today? Oh, the $1 million homes. So if I put this up here, let's see if I can hide this. This is for June. There were 415 active homes, and I did not include high rises. This is single family, like it says, single family. And this is how they break down the $1 million homes that are single family that are active. And 219 are $1 million to $2 million, and so on and so forth. And then I give you the percentage that is of all of the homes, of all the 415. So that may be some useful information for you, depending on what markets you're in. But I think it's quite something that we have that many homes that are in these higher price ranges. Look at this, 10 to 10 million. Now the 27,450,000 is Shenandoah, I believe it is. That was Wayne Newton's home at one time, his estate, his enclave, whatever you want to call it. It's huge. So that brings that up. Otherwise, I think the next price point is around 18 million. If I remember doing all these things sometimes. Yeah, so there's some pretty high priced homes up there, and they're selling. So we shall keep track of that as well. So today, we want to kind of recap what we learned yesterday. The state of the market, the regional market, why this is not a bubble, the mortgage stats, what to expect for buyers, what to expect for sellers, and homeownership as the best investment. And of course, that's for investors and buyers and sellers. And then a system to succeed in any market. We know what that is, but we're going to talk about it anyway. So let's get on with the show today. The state of the market. Yeah. So now this is, again, data. Data is not as current as I provide, because I don't know why, but I don't know why they can't provide it more current, but they don't. Anyway, 4 months supply of inventory across the United States is as of April. Then in 2020, in 2021, 2.4 months supply. So that's a near record low of national inventory, just so everybody realizes the impact of that. Existing home sales, oh my goodness, 5.8 million, which is a 20% increase year over year. So we're selling year over year 20% more homes than we did in prior years. Amazing numbers here. The median sale price is up 20% as well. And this is the median, and this is, again, is across the United States, So we're right in there. You know, we are right in there, which is good. We don't want to be too high. We're already pretty affordable when you see this, when you look at the stats, right? We're pretty affordable for what you get. Then if you look on the new home construction, now that is on the rise, and they make up 26% of inventory. And housing starts, now this is pretty current. They went, at least got May of 2021, 1.59 million housing starts, which is a 15% increase. And that is also what's going to keep our people buying homes, right? Because people love new homes. And when there's not a lot of those new homes on the market, sometimes people hold back until they do come on the market. I want you all to, I uploaded this in the group, Ruthie Rocks, and print it out, go into the file section, print it out, and learn, read it and recite it, so that when people ask you questions, you know which piece of paper to pull out and show them. So this basically says that the pandemic did not halt home sales, but as restrictions begin to loosen, buyers are returning in full force. Increased demand has inventory extremely tight, but home builders are starting to pick up the slack. Yes, they are. We love that, right? We need more inventory, and we'll sell new homes. I know some of the builders pay, I think in the Phoenix class the other day, somebody said there's a builder paying 4%, and then there's some builders paying $500. So it's across the board right now. So time to succeed. Oops, hold on. Backwards. Yes. Okay. The regional market snapshot. So while national trends also hit close to home, at the end of the day, real estate is local. And here's a look at the post-pandemic rebound in each region. Now, if you look at the Midwest, you've got the low median price of $259. And that's a 13% increase, though, for that region. And then in the Northeast, the median price has now jumped up to $381,000, and that's a 22% year over year increase. In the South, you have $289,000, and that is a 15% increase. Wait till you see the West. Oh my gosh. Look at that median price, $501,000, a 20% increase. Well, year over year, you know, I think they should cut California out of this and have California segmented on its own. If I was in charge of this, that's what I would definitely do, because this doesn't give you or anyone else looking at this a really true picture of what they're trying to accomplish. Because I mean, it's $500 a square foot at median in California, and if you look at ours is around 200. So it's not apples and apples. So I don't like it when they mix these statistics just because of and call it regional. So this is not one of my favorite slides at all. I like knowing what's going on right here in Vegas, and that's really what matters. So I don't know that I would I'm going to put this probably in the blog on the Agent Formula websites, but I don't know. Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't put it in. I might not, because I don't think it gives good information. I think it skews people's minds as to, I can't move to Nevada. The median price is 500,000. Think about that. Nevada's in the West, right? But our median price isn't 500,000. So I don't like this at all. Anyway, and then here is my favorite one. This is not a bubble. This is what we, in class yesterday, we passed it out to all the people that were participating. And I think Kane probably sent it to the Zoomers as well. But this is what we need to tell people. Now, why is this so important? Google, Buffini reported that Google's most asked question about real estate is the market going to crash? That is the question that most people are asking on Google. And from just in the past 2 weeks, that has increased, that question, which already was at the top, increased by 2,000%. In other words, that many more people are asking that question. So if that many people are asking that question on Google, we need to be prepared to hand this to people. So make yourself several copies of it, fold it, put it in your purse, put it in your pocket, but carry it with you, because, you know, if you wear your badge, you know, like I'm a realtor, there's a great T-shirt. I think it's at the board. I might have seen it on Amazon, but it says, "I'm a realtor. Ask me a question." I love that T-shirt, and I think that you know, carry these around and wear that T-shirt, or have a little badge made with that on it. Badges are cheap, what, $30 or something like that. And because you want people to ask you a question, because questions lead to giving information. And giving information leads to them asking you questions, and then the conversation, the relationship begins. So I'm all about, you know, wearing my badge. When I was a realtor, I mean, I'm still a realtor, but when I was selling real estate, and I loved it when people said, "How's the market?" I loved asking that. You know, it's being asked that, because, you know, I always stayed on top of the market. Ergo Agent Formula website, and you know, I've been building that website for years, since the 90s. So I've always stayed on top of the market. And one of the things is, when I was John was basically a listing agent, and I took a lot of the buyers. Well, back in those days, I wasn't much of a talker, believe it or not. And I know John rules the day that he taught me how to talk. But anyway, I was afraid. And the only thing that gave me confidence was statistics and learning about the market, learning about everything about Las Vegas that I could learn. And then when I took buyers out, which came from other parts of the country back in the 90s, as you know, that built our city up from 350,000 to 2 million. So there were lots of people moving here. Most of the buyers were from out of town. We had a very unique market, as we still do. But anyway, I digress. The point is that what gave me confidence was being able to tell people, answer their questions with confidence, because I studied the market, and I didn't have anybody producing things like this, and NAR back then wasn't really doing statistics. But now we have all this information to share. Now, obviously, if Google had That's their top question about real estate. And it's increasing by 2,000% in just a week or two. You have to believe that everybody is worried about the market crashing. And you need to be able to say with confidence and read this and understand this and tell them this is not a bubble. The market is not going to crash. And you say it with confidence because this is not anybody's opinion here. These are facts that substantiate the economic status of our housing industry. These are the facts that substantiate the value of our housing market and the status of our housing market. And it's solid. This market is solid. So it's so important that you can recite this information. The housing market is hot, but leading economists say a crash is not imminent. And we're talking about, I think, Stiller, one of the big economists, Dr. Young, NARS, he has all that valuable information at his fingertips, and that's his job, is to research. And Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, all the major economists say there is no bubble there. The market is not going to crash. So, causes of the last housing bubble. Now, this is some good information. Hi, Karen. Hi, Karen. I know if you, I keep saying I think I'm going to make a promise to you that in July, I'm coming to your office and I'm going to look at your computer and see why you're not getting notifications. There's got to be some little tweak there. Anyway, I love Karen. Karen and I have been friends for years. Her cute little daughter. Wow. Beautiful pair. Beautiful. Mother, daughter. The causes. Low down payments. In 2007, 2008, I mean, they remember stated income. Like, you didn't even have to prove that you were qualified. You just had to give them some information, right? And your credit score really didn't even matter in some of those cases. Yeah, that's true. And then there was flexible mortgage rates. Oh my gosh. So you got in with a teaser rate, right, of 2% that was going to go up to 5 or 6%, maybe 10% over, 30 years. I saw some of those things. It's hard to believe. And then an oversupply. There was an oversupply of houses available. For the supply and demand was askew. So that really crashed the market. So now, why is 2021 different? The current combination of low inventory, high buyer demand means the risk of overbuilding is minimal. In other words, when there's such a demand, it's hard to get the supply to exceed that demand. So we've got ourselves in a situation here where we don't have enough homes for the buyers that want to buy homes. And there's several reasons, of course, why they want to buy homes. And we'll get to that. Existing home sales for 2021, right? 1.16 million. And that's as of April, everybody, as of April. And back in 2007, it was 4 million for sale. Look at that, how imbalanced that was. I mean, there was definitely more supply than there was demand. Even though if you could fog a mirror, you could buy a home. Still, too many homes were built. I'm not sure why. I'm not going down that road. I got enough to do, but it makes me curious regardless. Then the other side, the blue side over here, says this is not a bubble. Down payments are up. So right now, people are putting more money down, means more equity right at the beginning of their home buying, of their home purchase. And leading up to the market crash in 2008, down payments were low. Like we said, I mean, you could do stated income loans. There's so many things that you could do to get a home. And you didn't need a lot of down payment. The down payment average in 2007, 2007 was 9%. The typical down payment in 2021 is almost 16%. So 45% of first-time home buyers financed 100% of their homes in 2007, and compared to 17% in 2020. So 17% of the first-time home buyers in 2020 didn't put anything down because they got assistance, right? Yes, but you know what's happened? The prices have gone up substantially, and so now they have built-in equity, which is another factor in how stable this market is the home equity people have. And then more fixed rate mortgages. So before 2008, the market crashed, more buyers gambled with adjustable rates than with fixed adjustable rate mortgages. So buyers with adjustable rate and fixed then adjustable rate in 2020 was only 4%. In 2007, it was 15%. Wow, what a difference. Again, these numbers substantiate the solidness of our market. And then lending restrictions are tight. So it's harder to qualify for a mortgage you can't afford. Foreclosure filings were at a 15-year low in February 2020 before the pandemic. So in 2008, there were 234,000 plus foreclosure filings. February of 2020, there were 48,000. And in April, only 11,000. Wow. Those numbers speak volumes. There is not going to be a crash, and we are not in a bubble. The other thing that they're not saying here that I will tell you. Now, in class, you know, I have the opportunity to meet and get to know so many of the awesome realtors here in Las Vegas that, you know, I, for whatever reason, didn't meet them in my past 34 years in this industry here. But it's interesting because they have some interesting questions, and I'm sure that, you know, a lot of those questions are coming from their clients. And people say, well, what about when forbearance is over? So forbearance, let's talk about forbearance. Forbearance is going to be over for a lot of homeowners. And at that time, they may have to sell their home. They may, because if they don't have a job and they can't, you know, there's some people that still don't have jobs as a result of the pandemic. So they may have to sell their home. Maybe the payment's too high, whatever. They can't refinance because they don't have a job. You know how that goes. And so they are going to sell their homes, and they are not going to be foreclosed on because there's equity in their home. So that's the good news. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some. I think I looked at the numbers a couple of weeks ago, and I reported, what are there, like 20 foreclosures a month right now? That's like unbelievable. So there's not that many people that are in trouble. And in trouble meaning that their home, they number one, they can't make the payment, but they get foreclosed on. They can't even do they can't do a regular sale because there's no money there to pay the expense of selling a home. But 7%, let's say that's the average, of 400 is 28,000. And then if you look at the chart, let's look at this chart here real quick. Let me put this down for a second, and I'll hide myself. Let's see if it'll let me hide. Nope, did it backwards. Okay, so if you look, okay, it's not gonna, let's see, let's put solo on here. If you look at this and you see, I mean, even if if somebody bought their home last year and it was a medium priced home, they've got 40,000 equity in it, right? So that's why we say, you know, that these people won't have to foreclose. I mean, we're not going to have a lot of foreclosures. And I think that when people, I've heard people say, oh my God, there's going to be so many foreclosures. Well, they're not. I understand forbearance, and maybe they don't have the cash to pay what they owe, but they can sell their home and get out of that situation, and maybe rent until they get a job, because hopefully they have income from somewhere, right? Or perhaps they get a different job, whatever. But people have to live somewhere, so perhaps they'll rent, and maybe they'll get some cash out of their house. So I don't know. I think that the numbers speak for themselves. There's not going to be a crash, and there's not going to be a lot of foreclosures. So let us continue here. I could go on that subject for a long time because I'm pretty passionate about it. The mortgage stats. Live in the payment, not the price. That's what we want to do. That's what we want to tell people. Mortgage rates are expected to increase slightly over the next year or two, and they are still hovering at historic lows, making home ownership more accessible for new buyers. And at the bottom of my chart, I show you that for every 100,000, the mortgage, the principal and interest will be $441. So if you take that times the median price, which is $385,000, you're going to get a $1,697, almost a $1,700 mortgage payment. And I'm here to tell you, since we manage properties, rents are going up 4 to 7% this year, and they'll go up again next year, according to Dr. Jung, if you listen to the podcast. So, the mortgage rates are just hovering there. They're going to stay there, according to the economists, through they say through 2023, which means maybe by the end of 2022, they'll go up a little bit. But they are, the down payments are 10%. So if the price of the home is $329,000, the down payment's 10%. The mortgage rate at the time of purchase in 2008 was 6%. Wow. Current average mortgage rate is half of that, which is 3%. And the monthly mortgage savings, when you're doing that calculation, is $525. So a couple of years ago, instead of it being $1,700, a couple of years ago, 2008, instead of it being $1,700 like it would be today, it was $2,200 back then. And that's a big difference. $6,000 a year, $6,000 plus a year is a big difference. So mortgage stats, that's where we're doing. We're living in the payment, not the price. Real estate is most people are in it for the long haul. Now there's flippers and there's people that, do that. But I'm talking about families and people that buy a home. They're going to stay there 5-7 years. I think that's now I think we got back down to that as the average. It went up there for a while to 9 to 10 years, but that's while people were building equity and things like that were going on. And that's another show. But anyway, if you can convince somebody to live in the payment, because let me go back here for just 1 second. I did want to say one more thing. In the United States is one of the only countries that does a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. You go to other places in Europe or in Canada, they don't do 30-year mortgages. So someone has an asset, a fixed asset, meaning a home, and they have a fixed payment. That's the biggest hedge against inflation, number one, because that payment is not going to rise. And we know that inflation is going rampant right now. I think Dr. Yun said it's gone up, as it's increasing faster than it ever has in 30 years. Normally it takes it slower to increase, but I think because of all that money we printed, remember that, that money that we got during the pandemic, that was going to cause inflation. So your home is the best hedge against inflation, because everything goes up, including your home value will go up over the years. All right, so let's get out of that mortgage and what to expect for buyers. And this is something really good, again, to hand out to people. Oh, you're going to buy a home? Well, so I have something here for you. This is what I would be saying in my conversation. And then, in this competitive market, buyers will need to be flexible in order to secure their dream home. When a buyer knows what to expect, they're set up for a smooth, successful process. And that's, people are scared. People are scared of the process because especially first-time home buyers. And then you have the market frenzy with the multiple offers and people, being stressed about the inspection. I think we have indicated in our polls that we asked the classes, what are your buyers most fearful of? And normally they say the inspection. So it's a good idea to perhaps go over an inspection report with your buyer. We've done that before. And in Arizona, there was an agent that I met at, I think I was taking a class down there. And she always had her seller do an inspection report and put it on the counter, copies of it on the counter so that prospective buyers, would see that, oh, there's nothing really major wrong with the home. And of course, it was a certified, bonded, licensed, insured, inspector. And that was a great tool that she used. I still think it's a good idea. Whatever the cost of it is, I think it's worth it to provide that for people. Anyway, just a tip there. So buyers are making changes to sweeten the deal. Higher down payments, right? Paying above asking price and waiving contingencies. Now, down here it says waiving contingencies like inspection and finance contingencies. I'm not a proponent at all of waiving inspections. No way, no how. No. If you work for us, you've got to do inspections. You have to have a very good reason why. I mean, I know there's always exceptions to the rule, whatever, but inspections keep you out of trouble. Keep your buyers' peace of mind. I just had an agent, absolutely, she showed me on her text where she told her buyer, you've got to get an inspection. The buyer didn't want to pay for it. They got the inspection. It indicated that there may be a problem with the air conditioning. Well, this was an investment property this person was buying. And guess what? The tenant moved in, had a breathing problem, had a new baby, the air conditioning went out. Now, our agent and our brokerage is protected because we got the inspection and we indicated to the buyer, you need to get the air conditioning checked out. Well, it totally blew. I mean, it has to be replaced. So that's a sad situation. But it happens. I mean, you think, we take things for granted until something bad happens. And then we realize, oh my gosh, I probably should have gotten an inspection. So, I would be the one telling, if I gave this to somebody, that we don't waive inspections. We waive waiving contingencies, finance. I don't know how you can waive that, but anyway, cash, of course, but it depends on many factors. If you've done your comps well and you think you can waive when they say finance, I don't know exactly what they're referring to here. Are they talking about the appraisal? Are they talking about whether or not a person can get a loan? I don't think so. Right? Anyway, so that's something you can give. I might alter that before I gave it out. Or I might have my, I don't know. I don't like that they put that on there. I would probably white out waiving contingencies. I might say, I don't know what I might say there because I don't believe in that. So I have a hard time with that one. Maybe I'll make my own and give it the top 2 buyer concessions. I think I will do that. Actually, I think I will do that. Thank goodness I can do that. I can ask Kane to do it. Okay, what to expect for sellers? Yeah, 42% of homes sold above asking price. Wow, that's amazing. Average time in the market in 2021 is 17 days. Average time on the market last year was 27 days. Wow. Average number of offers a home received in 2021 is 5. Last year was 3.4. So multiple offers, and you tell sellers to anticipate it. You give them this. And I would tell them down here where it says 17 days that if the home isn't priced right and they don't have an offer in 17 days, we might consider, might look at things to consider. Again, I have an agent who had a very bad situation. It was a divorce situation, and the pictures of the property were just terrible. The home was nice in a nice area, but there was clutter everywhere. You know, the agent suggested that they remove the clutter. They wouldn't. They were fighting over things, you know, because they're getting divorced. It was very, so he finally fired him. He said, I can't sell your home the way it is. I mean, it was on the market for 3 or 4 weeks and nothing. And then they wouldn't let him in. So they wouldn't let potential buyers in. So, you know, occasionally you have to fire your seller, but if you sit down with people and you tell them these things ahead of time, you're managing their expectations. And whether it's a buyer or a seller, that's what this is all about. And, you know, managing people's expectations. And that's a big one there. 42% of homes sell above asking price. That's why the prices are going up. Of course, we know that, right? Home ownership, the best investment. The uncertainty of 2020 demonstrated the tremendous value of home ownership, and the value was reflected in dramatic equity gains. Yes. Total national home owner equity increase in 2020 was $1.5 trillion. That makes another reason why we're not having a bubble and we're not having a crash. Home prices went up 11.3% this year. Home equity increased by 16.2%. Year over year from last year. And there you go. That's the price increase. The typical rent, $1,200 per month, that's going up. I'm sure right now in our market, it's $1,400. In most markets, owning a home costs the same or less than renting. So that's one side of the best investment for home ownership. The other thing is if you're an investor, and you've got this home at this low interest rate and the rents are going up, your return on your investment should be greater. And hopefully you know how to speak investor and talk about cap rate and return on investment and cash on cash and things like that, because that's what the investor wants to know. And if you compare, I know a lot of our property owners have refinanced their homes, and they're getting, you know, their payments less, their rent is more, and the cash flow is better. So they're happy campers. A lot of them that bought back in 2008, they're selling because they're getting a lot of equity out because of the price increase. So we have a lot of that going on too. But regardless, this is something, homeownership is the best investment. And this really, I think, says a lot on this one sheet of paper. And property values often continue to grow, even when stock prices do not. And people have to have a place to live. They don't have to have stock. I always say that. And then more than 80% of all transactions are conducted through your sphere of influence. And there is an existing relationship that leads to sales. And this is a Buffini advertisement. Buffini works by referrals. And that's why I tell everybody, get a farm, please get a farm. Start building relationships with people, please. Tom Ferry says in 3 to 5 years, 50% of the sales will be by the interlopers. And what that means is you're probably going to be paying for leads if you're not developing relationships between now and then. And they're projecting 30 to 50% you're going to be paying for average for those leads, the ones that work. And you got to work them. So there's no more lead. Now, I don't like that word lead. I always stumble on it. There is no lead more powerful than one referred from someone you know, someone who knows you, trusts you, and will put their name to yours. And that's a Brian Buffini saying, and I believe that. 91% of buyers and 89% of sellers would use their agent again or refer them to others. So the way you make that work, I know Karen, you'll agree with me, is you stay in contact with people. Send them personal notes, send them an item of value, just pop by their house with water in the heat of the summer, or on the anniversary of when they sold their home, if it was in the summer, right? So many things that you can do. I mean, I don't have, Aaron Taylor puts his picture on salt. He has a company wrap the salt with his picture and his phone number. And I tell the story. There were some kids in his office, they were in their 20s. And Aaron says, "Oh, Ruth, let me introduce you to, Jane and Sally. Jim and Sally. They're going to buy a home. I sold their parents a home, 20 years ago. And they both looked at me and they said, every time we opened the cupboard, we saw Aaron Taylor. Because the salt was there. He delivered the salt. He'd pop by and deliver salt. Or when he sold a home, he would put the salt in the cupboard. If you're in this for the long haul, this business is not difficult if you realize that you have to do things and plant the seeds for your future. That's why they call it farming. That's why they call it farming. I love you all. I hope you have an awesome day. You can find this, I guess there's 10, 11 page PDF in the file section of my group, Ruthie Rocks. And we're also going to be, if you have an Agent Formula website, if you don't, I don't know why not. We have a special price going on for June for $59 if you go to agentformula.com and you sign up. And I think you have to put a promo code in there. And I'll post that in the group, but I think it's either year 5.9 or 5.9 year. So anyway, that's it for today. I love you all. No more classes this week except Buffini on Friday. We're getting down to the last couple classes. And we're going to hold it again in September. So we'll be posting those dates and times soon. I love you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Stay cool. And